Am I the a-hole for refusing to stand up for my girlfriend when I felt she purposely started drama with my mother by bringing a cake to a birthday party? I've been with my girlfriend for 2 years and we are talking about getting engaged soon. I love her wholeheartedly and would choose her over my mom in a heartbeat. They don't get along at all, so it's come up plenty of times and I think I have done a good job of siding with my girlfriend. They just flat out don't like each other, but they also seem to have some rivalry going on. My girlfriend has confided in me that she feels like she can't win. They're both guilty of being competitive, but she feels my mom has a lot of stuff over her. I of course don't agree, but it bothers her. My mom is a really good cook, but her baking is just okay. She can't decorate the cakes at all, and my girlfriend recently discovered this. My mom's fiancé had a birthday and he wanted a banana cake with honey cream cheese frosting. My mom made it and it wasn't great looking. Tasted good though. My girlfriend made the same cake but decorated it beautifully and decided to bring it to the party. It was a work of art, but I told her she was just trying to steer crap and I didn't want her to bring it. She decided to bring it anyway and I didn't stop her. When we got there, my mom saw her cake and didn't look happy but didn't say anything. My mom's fiancé just flat out refused to touch my girlfriend's cake. I think he told other guests to do the same because no one would eat it. I took a big piece and praised it, but she was clearly upset. She went over and tried to pressure him to eat it, and honestly, he was pretty rude. He told her he sees through her. He isn't going to touch her cake. But if it makes her feel better because she found one thing she is good at, to take the win. He thanked my mom for his cake, kissed her, and then told my girlfriend she was bothering him and to get out of his face. I didn't do anything in that moment. She later asked me to talk to him and I declined. I said she brought the cake to steer drama, so I think his reaction was okay. She teared up a bit and said he was really mean and I need to say something. I still refused. And when we left, I said goodbye, thanked them for inviting us, and was just normal. She accused me of being spineless and still upset. Now for the top comments. Not the a-hole. Your girlfriend was way out of line. And I don't care how rude mom's fiancé was to her. He was just exactly perfect in what he did for his love. Your girlfriend does not deserve a win for trying to one-up your mom at her fiancé's birthday. She's gross, and I have some ideas about why your mom doesn't like her. Yes, I mean the girlfriend is a massive rude a-hole here. But this is outrageous. Trying to upstage the birthday boy's fiancé, as in the hostess, by bringing in a fancier version of the cake and even trying to pressure people into eating it, and then acting like she's got any right to feel hurt because people were mean, as in called her out on her outrageous nonsense, instead of embarrassed and mortified because what the heck was she thinking? Not today, Holopi, but your girlfriend is not right in the head. This goes beyond just being competitive. She was being mind-bogglingly rude and out of line. And it's a giant marinara flag that she doesn't acknowledge just how badly she screwed up and how rude she was. It's unhealthy for her to be so obsessed with winning that she's willing to cause scenes and ruin celebrations with this type of intentional hatery. It won't even apologize, but will instead get mad at people for not supporting her insane upstaging antics. Edit: the fiancé probably didn't even need to ask the other guests to not eat your girlfriend's cake. Because anyone with any understanding of basic manners and decency would not want to offend the hosts by going along with such a rude stunt. Seriously, OP, you need to think if you're willing to lose your mom over your girlfriend, because she seems hell-bent on destroying any relationship or goodwill between them. This is a ridiculous level of crap steering. Kudos to your mom and her fiancé for handling it so well. Not the a-hole. This platform loves to dump on mother/father-in-laws and difficult parents. But maybe it's time to have a long, hard look at if your mother's reasons for not liking your girlfriend are valid. If this was your birthday, maybe I'd understand a little more. But your girlfriend tried to upstage your mother at her fiancé's birthday and handled it like a pro. I wouldn't put it past your girlfriend to turn up to your mother's wedding wearing white. This feud isn't going to go away, so before you propose, have a think about if you're really willing to lose your mother over your girlfriend. Because after her little stunt, I wouldn't be surprised if they chose to go low/no contact. Yep, this post is a definite win for the mother-in-law column, both in terms of who was in the right and who won battles of the cakes. Next story is titled, Am I the a-hole for leaving a wedding early because I felt my boyfriend was ignoring me? My boyfriend, 28 male, and I, 26 female, have been dating for almost 4 years. This past weekend, we attended a wedding for one of his close friends. My boyfriend was a groomsman. It was a pretty big wedding. About 200 people. I have social anxiety and don't do well in big crowds. especially when I don't know a lot of people there and don't really have a comfort zone. I did know a fair amount of people at this wedding, but they are mostly my boyfriend's friends and family, not really close friends of my own. Since my boyfriend was a groomsman and had all the duties that go along with that, we weren't together for most of the day. He had to go to the venue a lot earlier than I did. I wasn't going to just sit around the venue waiting for the ceremony to start, so I hung out at our hotel. I did talk to him for a few minutes before the ceremony, but after that, I barely saw him the entire night. The wedding party was seated at a separate table for the reception, so I was seated with other significant others that weren't at the wedding party. I knew a couple of them, but we aren't close. By the time dinner was served, my anxiety was already spiking. I was able to talk with my boyfriend again after dinner, but he kept getting pulled away by the groom and other friends to go dance or play a game they set up. I felt like my boyfriend was ignoring me and I was already at my social limit, so I found him and told him I was leaving. He tried to convince me to stay and celebrate with everyone and to get out on the dance floor with him, but I refused. I don't like dancing. It's just not my thing. So I left and went back to our hotel. I waited up for my boyfriend to get back because he wasn't responding to my texts. He didn't get back to our room until 3 a.m. Apparently, his phone died during the night and some of the guys went out to a bar after the reception. When he got back, I was angry. I told him I was worried about him because I couldn't get a hold of him. He said that wouldn't have been a problem if I had just stuck around and had fun. I told him I felt like he was ignoring me the entire time. He said he was a groomsman in a close friend's wedding. He had things he had to do. He said he had tried to get me to stay and dance and have fun, but it was clear to him that I had already made up my mind to leave. I told him I felt like an afterthought to him the entire day. He said I need to get over myself, because this was his friend's wedding and he was there to support and celebrate his friend's new marriage, not to babysit me the entire time. He told me he was disappointed that I couldn't even hang around for one night to celebrate, and that I made a decision to leave on my own, so I can't blame him for anything. I'm still upset about it a week later, and he's refused to apologize or accept any responsibility for why I left. Like, I understand he has things he had to do as a groomsman, but I felt like he has put zero effort into making sure I was comfortable. You're the a-hole. He's right. His duties that day were to the groom. That is what a groomsman is. Are you always this exhausting? Or just when he dares to focus on someone that's not you? Man, this was spot on with what I was thinking. Like, baby girl, it's not always about you, lol. You're the a-hole. OP. How do I make every single day about myself? Right? Lol. And then want that man to apologize. OP needs to recognize that it's okay and actually healthy to spend time apart from their partner. It was perfectly fine for her to go back to the hotel. It was perfectly fine for him to stay and party with the wedding party and his friends. It's not okay for her to be mad that they both did what they wanted to do. OP, you sound controlling and insecure. You are blaming your boyfriend and your anxiety for your discomfort. But it sounds like even though you knew some other people there, you didn't make any attempts to enjoy yourself. Everything you described sounds par for the course for a wedding where one partner is in the wedding party and the other is not. It's up to you to navigate the setting and figure out how to handle it. Does it kinda suck not to see your partner so much? Yes, sure. But it was one night, and he had obligations that you were aware of. You staying up to overthink the situation and get angry about it makes you the a-hole. You should have just gone to bed. Next story. Am I the a-hole for asking my in-laws the same questions they ask me? I, female 30, got engaged to my fiancé a month ago. My in-laws, especially mother-in-law, are the type of people that ask a lot of questions, personal questions at that. Their questions tend to be hurtful sometimes, but I try not to get easily offended and mistake it personal, but those questions are getting out of control. Instead of lashing out and being rude, I've decided to answer these questions by turning it back on my in-laws and asking them the same questions they ask me. For example, whenever my fiancé and I are visiting, my sister-in-law would ask, "Hey, when are you going to lose those pounds?" I go, "When are you going to lose those pounds? You've put up a lot of weight recently," while pointing at her eyes wide open. She would then get easily offended. Father-in-law would ask, "When are you going to get your own house?" I go, "When are you going to get your own house? Aren't you 73 and still paying rent for your house?" They live in a rental house. He gets highly offended. Brother-in-law would ask, "When are you going to get married?" I go, "When are you going to get married? You don't even have a girlfriend yet." They've obviously picked up on my vibe, but the blow-up occurred last night when my fiancé and I were at their house for dinner. Mother-in-law looked at me while I was eating and went on about kids and grandchildren. She then asked, "When are you going to start giving us babies?" My fiancé looked at me with an "oh boy" type of way. I felt no hesitation. I looked at her and said, "When are you going to start giving us babies? That's what I want to know." The table went quiet, though some family members laughed. Mother-in-law and her daughter and husband made all types of angry faces. Then dinner was over. I got scolded by my fiancé on the way home, telling me I was being rude with the way I talk back and respond to his family's innocent questions. Yeah, questions they've already asked 1,000,000 times before. Hard eye roll, but whatever. We got into an argument and he then looked at me and said, "Why are you being hostile?" I said, "Why are you being hostile, getting in my face and yelling?" He yelled at me again, saying I'm driving him crazy and called me childish and immature, then stormed off to the bathroom. Am I the a-hole really? Now for the top comments. Not the a-hole. This is hilarious. Your in-laws are being rude, and at this point should be able to predict how you'll answer these questions. Does your fiancé really not think they're being invasive? Maybe talk about this before you get married. She doesn't have a family problem. She has a fiancé problem. The fiancé isn't backing her, and they should go to counseling or not get married. A united front is needed. Not the a-hole. Are you sure you're excited to become a part of this family? They kinda treat you like crap, and your fiancé doesn't have your back. Is this really how you want to live the rest of your life? Can you imagine how awful they will be if you decide to have children? I can hear sister-in-law now. When are you gonna lose the baby weight? After dating someone with an absolutely batshit mother many years ago, I swore I would never marry into that crap. Then I dated someone years later with another crazy family. We broke up when I realized it. By chance, I am friends with the latter ex's wife, so I've been able to hear how it's going. Not well. Not well at all. It just isn't worth it to me to knowingly walk into enemy territory by way of marriage. I'm lucky enough to have in-laws who treat me as their own child, and a husband that has my back in every situation. I feel like this behavior of monster-in-law has been normalized and expected. Some people fall for the trap and lead long miserable lives. I hope Opie jumps off this sinking ship. Now for the last story. Am I the a-hole for being ungrateful to my parents offering to pay for my wedding? My wedding is next year, and my parents have offered to pay some part of the cost. I am 27 male and my fiancé is 25 female. Due to tradition, my mom has offered to pay for my fiancé's wedding dress. They've also offered to pay part of the reception costs. At first, both my fiancé and I were very grateful for their offer. But after we started wedding planning, we realized it was wrong accepting their help in the first place, since they want to have the first and the last word on everything, and barely leave us make our own decisions because we are paying too, so we are having it our way. The thing is, they're not the only ones paying. We do too, and it's our wedding after all, yet they won't let us have any input. Whenever we suggest anything different than what they like, they threaten to pull away their contribution unless we do as they say. When my fiancé started going wedding dress shopping, my mom is mad that my fiancé wouldn't pick a vintage second-hand wedding dress and wanted a new one. When I told her she's the one who'll wear the dress, so she's the only one who has a say in what kind of dress she'll get, my mom said, "I'm paying for that thing, so no, she's not the only one who decides." For the reception, they wanted us to cut down our guest list so they could invite more of their friends. Again, their argument was, "We are paying, so either you do as we say or we pull away the money." My fiancé and I even tried to compromise with them, yet they didn't accept any alternative they were not fond of. After 1 month and a half of wedding planning, my fiancé snapped and said she'd rather get married and have a reception at Burger King than have my parents dictate our entire wedding using their money as a means to control us. And she was right. I told my parents to keep their money and how we don't want their contribution if it comes with so many terms and conditions. My parents called me and my fiancé ungrateful for rejecting their offer, and how we're a spoiled couple. I told them that I'd rather be ungrateful then, but how I don't appreciate the fact that they only offered to pay in order to have full control. They should pay because they wanted to help us out from the bottom of their heart, not to have us as pawns. My mom and dad have since exposed our business to many relatives, and now everyone says how ungrateful we are, and how only someone spoiled and an a-hole would reject an offer like that and not accept to make some sacrifices. Not the a-hole. Helping people doesn't entitle you to be awful to them, and more people need to realize it. The parents have exposed their own version to the rest of the family. I bet if they informed them that the mother tried to impose her own dress choice onto the bride, opinions would soon change. Additionally, why/how are they calling them spoiled when they are refusing their financial help? Spoiled would be them requesting the parents to pay for everything and giving them some kind of messed up consequence akin to, "We'll pool our money." Like they won't be invited if they don't give money. Or if the parents weren't financially sound and the couple was demanding money or threatening no contact or some crap. In other words, the parents are projecting. They are the ones being selfish and spoiled while putting the blame of that on the couple. Classic markers for narcissistic personality disorder actually. Wonder if that's what OP and Fiancé are up against. If so, be prepared for this behavior to never end and ramp way the heck up if they have kids. Husband will need a strong backbone and even stronger boundaries if that's the case. Not stay home. They kept threatening to pull the funding. All you really had to say was, the 6th time you threatened to pull funding because we didn't want to do something your way, we got the message that you didn't want to contribute. This way you don't have to stress about any of the details and can just enjoy it as guests. At first, we really thought they wanted to contribute with good intentions because they really wanted to help us. For example, my fiancé's parents contributed and got us our wedding bands. They didn't care what we got. They offered us a budget and told us to either get something within that budget, or they'll offer that budget they have and we can feel the difference in price if we like something more expensive. They didn't even care to know what kind of rings we chose as long as we were happy.